Well, I am an admirer of Elisa's. Elisa has even worked for me, and the fact is that she is talented.
What's it called? Kermit and Friends?
Kermit and Friends.
Kermit. But if
Kermit,
you're saying
like
not to
frog?
do,
Yeah,
wait.
I actually have watched a few hours of the Kermit and Friends.
How many hours have you watched, Natalie?
Oh, no. Probably indulged in 8 hours.
Holy.
My wife and I watched Benji's ex-girlfriends or whatever's going on. We watched this crazy podcast, and I have to say, this is one of the probably in the top 5 things I think about right now.
She has a podcast, but she gets to come on the radio. It is craziness upon craziness.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Kermit and Friends. I am Elisa. This is Fozzie, and Kermit is watching from heaven. So excited about the show today. It has been quite a week for me. Wow. So there's going to be new things happening here on Kermit and Friends. I'm going to get a new set. You're going to see changes. This is going to be happening over the next couple weeks. Yes, Kermit and Friends is on fire right now. On fire. And I'm just thrilled with everybody participating. Like the people that have reached out to me and said, oh, you should put this guest on. You should put this guest on. This person would love Kermit and Friends. That person would love Kermit and Friends. That is so helpful for me. I want to know what you want to see. You know, what kind of people do you want to see on the show? Whose life can we improve? Do you know anybody that wants to be a broadcaster? That's trying really hard. They have a lot of talent, and you see their YouTube channel and you say, man, if that person was just in front of an audience, they would explode. I want those kinds of people, because then from Kermit and Friends, they could get more of a fan base, and then they could start their own thing. And that warms my heart. As you know, we have a couple that got married because of Kermit and Friends. They met right here. We want more of that. That is the purpose, okay? If you're wondering what the purpose of Kermit and Friends, it's to help people spread joy, create holy matrimony, and whatever else you want, okay? So bring your pets, bring your friends, bring your enemies. Are you fighting with someone? Do you want to resolve that? I'm an expert at giving advice, okay? Let's welcome to the show Wheezy, my co-host. Welcome, Wheezy.
Thank you very much.
So I'm so thrilled that you're here. The topic today is happiness. I was just curious, like, are you a happy person, Wheezy?
I am. Yeah. I mean, like everybody else, I have good and bad days, but generally I'm pretty happy. I'm the kind of person that's thankful for every situation I'm in. And so it's good to remind myself often how lucky I am. And that makes me happy. You know, that reminds me.
Yeah. Like everything I ever listen to, it says, you know, you're supposed to write down the things that you're grateful for. And that's really important because some people are not grateful and then they're upset. So yeah, I'm also extremely grateful. Like I'm grateful I have you, honestly.
Oh, thank you. I'm so grateful that I'm part of the show. Absolutely.
Yeah. So like you're one of the biggest things. Like I'm grateful for you,
No.
obviously, and you're just so loyal. And even if we have a difference in opinion, like that is, I've learned so much from our friendship here. I remember when you were writing positive things about like Brain, I was thinking, man, he likes this guy Brain. What? Like, why does he like him? I disagreed with that. I said, I don't like that guy. I don't, whatever. But like, it taught me something. I'm like, I could still love Wheezy, even if he has bad taste in like Friends. Because like, it doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So like, I'm sure there's some people I like that you don't like.
Yeah. I mean, I think that with disagreeing with somebody, it's just like if you liked nachos and I didn't. I wouldn't be mad if you didn't like nachos. It's a matter of preference and taste. And so I would look at you like, why doesn't she like nachos? But I wouldn't be, you get what I'm saying. So that's how I look at it with people. And it took me a while to figure Brain out, but you were right.
Yeah, I ended up being right about that. But you know what? People have to take their own time. You can't really tell people who to like or what to do.
Right.
They just have to figure it out for themselves. And like our guest, Dr. Robert Puff he says, go with the flow. He always says that. So even if I think like someone's wrong about something, I just go with the flow. And that's hard to do. I have a hard time doing that. And when things are going well, like how they're going for me now, I get really afraid that I'm going to be like hit by a car or something.
I know what you mean. As soon as things are going well, you're like, oh, nuclear war.
Exactly. I think there's going to be a war now only because I'm doing so well at work.
Right. I understand that. Yeah.
I always feel like that.
I feel that way too. It's almost like the imposter syndrome. You're like, everything's perfect. What am I missing? What's going to happen?
Yeah,
Is a
something
meteor
bad's going to happen. But another thing that this doctor says is if something bad happens, it's okay. But
to accept it, you mean? Just the acceptance of it all?
Yeah, I want to ask him more about that because like that's weird, because I've had a lot of bad things happen. And when they happen, it feels like it's the end of the world.
Yes,
but then, if you fast forward like 10 years later, you understand why those things happen more.
Right. And it's perspective too, because when you're in the middle of it, you're so lost and upset and your emotions are driving.
Yeah.
But then later when you can look at it without the emotions, you're like, wow, that actually put me in the place. And if without that bad thing happening, I wouldn't be here where I am today.
Yeah, exactly. So for instance, like I had a company that I worked at, they closed down, right? And I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? I didn't know what to do. I was so like dark I was really, really dark. But since I was so dark, I was looking for light however I could find it. And that's what made me start Kermit and Friends.
See? Yeah.
Yeah. And look at all these great people.
Right.
And, so that came out of the darkness, Kermit and Friends.
Yeah.
And then by doing Kermit and Friends, I think it gave me like some more confidence to, get back into the workforce. And now I'm doing great, like better than ever.
I'm so happy for you, Elisa, by the way, that you're
you.
doing so great. I mean, it's not easy, especially these times. So I'm really happy for you.
Yeah, and that's something else that I'm curious about. Like, a lot of people are, tweeting very negative things right now about the, state of the world and that kind of thing. But I see some light in there. I really do. I see some light. It's making you look at yourself and be like, what am I doing in my life? Like, can I do better? This is the time. This feels like if it is the end of the world, we got to start killing it.
Right. I agree with you 100%. It does give you that, like, what have I been missing? What can I do that I haven't been doing?
Yeah. Is there something I should have said to someone like that? That's why I wrote you that post, by the way. I was like, if the world's ending, I really want Wheezy to know that he is loved.
Well, I really appreciated that. And you guys have been so wonderful to me that it kind of goes to show what this community is all about. It's just like acceptance and really trying to lift each other up. And I know there's a lot of opposite of that, but that's my intent always, is just to try to get along with people. And even the grumpy people, you can put a smile on their face sometimes,
Yes. So what I want everybody to get out of this show today is I want you to learn something, and I want you to be like your happiest self. That's what I want. I want people to really listen. And obviously, Wheezy will be doing the wrap-up show after this show that like describes what goes on here. People are going to be talking about it. People are going to be, hopefully dissecting what we go over on this show. Our guest is someone I've been a fan of for years. Such a big fan that I myself didn't ask him to be on the show. That's how you know I'm a big fan, because I was too scared, okay? I don't reach out to people like that because I'm too nervous. But, okay, so this is who this is. This is somebody that was introduced to me by Benji. Does everybody know who Benji is? Benji? Okay, so Benji, my ex, Howard Stern show writer, when we were together, we used to listen to one podcast, okay? One podcast, just one, that's it. And it was this guy, the guy that's on the show today, okay? He's an internationally recognized clinical psychologist based in Newport Beach, okay? He brings a holistic approach to marriage and couples counseling, which we definitely could have used because we're broken up now, individual therapy, family, teenager, and child counseling. For over 30 years, he's been successfully helping clients find greater peace and success in their lives and relationships by using a therapy that addresses spiritual, emotional, nutritional, and physical aspects of the individual. He also hosts the Happiness Podcast. Everybody write this down. It's a podcast focusing on ways for us all to find happiness, and it's been downloaded, listen to this, over 14 million times all around the world. Do you guys hear that? 14 million times. And you know what? I'm not surprised by that. I'm not surprised by that number. The reason why I'm not surprised by that number is because this podcast, I like to say Kermit and Friends is like this too, has helped people's lives and given them a purpose and joy. Okay, so if you can spread joy to people, that's how you get people to watch, listen, and want to be involved. Everybody, welcome to the show, Dr. Robert Puff.
Hello.
Hi, Doctor. How are you?
Hello. I'm well. Elisa, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so thrilled to have you on here. It is such a tremendous honor. Like I said, I'm a huge fan. I've been listening to you forever. 14 million downloads. That is so huge. Do you have fans reaching out to you just constantly asking how to be happy?
I get a few once in a while.
Yeah, they do. I was just curious about that because I know, you're online. It's got to be annoying. And why, what inspired you to do that? What inspired you to start this podcast?
What inspired me my entire life, I felt there's a reason why we're here. And I kind of spent my life figuring out what that was. And then along the way, I came up with some answers. And I love helping people. And I think it's what we're here to do. I think we're here to learn for ourselves, to grow. And then when we learn things like you're doing, share it with other people, because a lot of people are struggling. A lot of people are having a hard time and they don't know what to do. So, yeah.
So do you think everybody is capable of helping people? Does everybody have that power?
Yes. I mean, it takes work. It takes effort. I think everyone can, be an artist. I think everyone can play the piano, but it just takes work and effort. So not everyone's going to do that. But if you're called to do that, and if you do that, you will get that reward. Because you can help people by just your neighbor. You can help people at your work that are having a hard time. You can help people that when you're at the grocery store. So many times I've been out and about, and I can tell someone's having a really hard time, and I'll just gently ask them. I say, "Are you okay? Is everything all right?" And then, out will come, "What's going on?" And if I hadn't asked them that, no one maybe would have. And we can do that all day long.
Okay, so go up to someone that you think is having a hard time and offer yourself to that person. What about the people say you're at work. I'm not saying this is me. I'm not saying this is me. Say you're at work and there's someone that you think doesn't like you or has a bitter attitude. Should you try to help that person?
Well, see them as here's a good way of putting it. See them as your teacher. If you're struggling with them, there's something going on inside of you that's causing you to struggle with them. Because every person, no matter who they are, we can actually learn to, maybe we don't want to hang out with them, but there's going to be some beauty in them. Say, what about their behavior is bothering me? And then what I say is there's a solution to every problem. Say, what could I do differently to make this better? Could I, greet them in the morning, ask them about their kids? Could I, sometimes just not have a longer conversation with them? There's always a solution, no matter who you're with, to make it better. And sometimes it is. I remember once working with a woman, and she was a school teacher, and her and I worked together. She had a principal that was incredibly challenging to work with. And we came up with every technique we could to make it go better. And finally, the solution was she went to a different school. She worked somewhere else. So sometimes that's the solution. But I think you always say there is a solution, kind of what you were talking about earlier. When there's a tough time we're going through, that's a lesson for us to learn. And we use that time to say, what do I need to learn here? Instead of seeing it as something's wrong, saying, oh, this is something I get to learn. And this person that's causing me, this person is causing me suffering. So what can I learn from this? Why are they causing me suffering? Because they don't call everyone suffering. This is causing me suffering right now.
Right. That this person is not upsetting everybody. It has something
Right.
to do with my own personal experience that I'm
Yep.
projecting onto this person.
Yeah, and it could be a million different things. It could be something from your past. It could be something from that they're doing that, is I often use as an analogy. It's a good analogy. I don't know if you can see it. My arm here. Let's say they're doing this to you. It's not a big deal. It hurts a little bit. Why are you hitting me? But if I have a gaping wound here and it's infected and you hit me on that same spot, you're going to get a lot more intensity from me. So
Yes.
we have to ask yourself are they perhaps doing something that I need to look at and they could help me heal from so that I can just deal with them slapping me on the wrist versus I'm feeling so much pain from this. It might be something inside me that I can grow from and I can thank them for that. So
So thank the person that's actually hurting you.
thank in the sense that they have lessons to teach you. Now, the lesson could be boundaries. The lessons could be, I need to call the police on them. The lessons could be, I need to get them in jail so they don't hurt anyone else. But it's still a lesson. There's always something we can learn from someone. And so it's seeing life very differently. We typically see life as it's a conflict, right? I need to fight with this person. What if we
Yes.
saw it as, wow, this is actually something that's causing me suffering. And what can I learn from this? So for example, many, many years ago, when I was in graduate school, I used to when I would call myself kind of grumpy. People would bother me. They were rude. And I thought, well, what's causing me to get bothered by these people that, I felt were rude? And I thought, well, if I'm in a hurry and I'm needing to get somewhere quickly, I tend to drive more aggressively. And when I don't, I don't. So I said, I just need to slow down and not be in a hurry. And I'm going to get to places early because of that. And it made my life so much better. I finally didn't get mad at anybody anymore, even though I knew those rude people were still out there because people in the car would say, did you see that person? And I wouldn't even see them because I learned to change what inside of me I could change. And a lot of life is, what can I change versus what can I? And what we mostly can change is ourselves. We can't do much with other people. We can set boundaries and we can try to love them, but we can change our response to what they're doing. That we have control over.
Okay, so our response is the only thing that we can control. We can't control what they do. All right, so I'm going to bring a personal problem in here, Doctor,
Correct.
since I'm so lucky to have you here. And then I want other people to do that. Okay, so my brother has not spoken to me for like almost 5 years. Okay, I tried at the beginning of him not speaking to me to like text him and like say happy birthday and send gifts and things like that. And then I stopped doing it. And I don't know, I don't know if I should, it's hard to get the inspiration to do it because it like hurts too much. I can't control what he does. I was thinking about showing up there. Everybody is like saying that's a bad idea. So like, how can I handle myself in the best way for like possible success with that?
That's a really good question. I love that. So let me address it. So there's two prongs to it. There's what he's doing and there's what you're going to do. You clearly are a very loving, kind person. You care for your brother. So your job is to say, I'm going to be a good sister to him. A good sister would want his birthday, wish him happy birthday. A good sister might send him a text. Now, if he doesn't want to hear your voice, I probably wouldn't leave him a voicemail. He can block me if he wants to, but I would try throughout my life, continue to reach out to him periodically, not all the time, with no expectations of getting anything back from him. But you focus on, I want to be a good sister to him. And he doesn't have to be anything back to me. I'm just going to do a part to be a good sister. Because I had I don't want to get into details, but a relative very similar to that. And
really?
For years,
you had somebody like that?
And in case they listen to this, I don't want to necessarily share, but I did exactly what you did. What I'm saying, I just reached out to them, and now we are back to being very good friends again. It did change. It worked.
So you were consistent even when that person wasn't consistent?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. At one point, they said, "Why do you keep trying?" I said, "Well, because I just care for you."
Wow, that's incredible. How many years did that take?
About 5. So yeah.
It's just wild to me that like Dr. Robert Puff, like the famous happiness person, would have that problem.
We all have things to deal with. The difference is how we deal with them. And so it really gets back to, what am I in control of? You can't control your brother, of course. And we can always, and I always want to be careful because I know that sometimes there are very abusive people in our lives, and we want to set boundaries. I'm not averse to, taking legal action and getting police involved if we're in a threatening situation, but we can still choose to how we respond.
Okay. So don't worry about what the other person does at all. But like, weren't you so hurt and sad and like rejected? And it's so confusing because it's ego.
Right.
And it's so many things like wrapped up into that kind of situation. Right. So like, do you force yourself to do something you don't want to do? Like, do you force yourself to keep reaching out, even like you're pissed and your ego and your pride, all that gets wrapped up into it.
Right. Well, again, you're very insightful. It is all about the ego. So the less ego you have involved in things, the better it goes. So it's not about, what they're doing. It's about just doing what you believe in your philosophy, your belief is right. And you do that. And that's all we can control. So it is easier when you realize that, okay, this is going to be a hard one, and we may get some responses for this one.
Okay.
Trust me, but everyone ultimately at the core is doing their best. They may be doing a really bad job, but at their core, at that instant, given their life and everything that's happened to them, they're doing their best. So perhaps by my kindness and love towards them, I might help them do better. But in their mind, they actually think they're doing the best. And you know how I discovered that?
How?
I did my residency at the VA hospital in Sepulveda. And when I was there, I mean, I'd worked in private practice already, so I was used to people, like having reasons why they were. But when I was there were men. These were men that were there, mostly men, and they had done horrific things. They were in and out of prison, living on the street. I mean, just horrific things, like just horrific things. And I remember every single one of them would tell me, "This is the way I am." I mean, they knew what they did was wrong. That wasn't that. It's just like they were in their mind doing the best they could. My job was to help them to do better. So I think when we stop judging them as much and just say, again, it gets back to what am I in control of? I can still be loving towards someone if they're being a jerk towards me. I can still be kind with boundaries. I'm going to just keep stating the boundary thing. I can still be kind. I mean, I don't want to call someone up that they're going to scream at me. I would take them the phone, but I might call them up the next week and say, "Hey, I love you." I might text them the next week, "Hey, I love you," and I may not hear back from them. But I would probably keep doing that because a brother is pretty important. Now someone who's an ex-boss that you never get along with, you probably don't need to do that with, but someone that's important, I would encourage us to do our part and not worry too much about what they do. So.
Okay. But you're saying everybody's trying their best.
Yeah.
But you admit some people's best is like
really
so bad. Yeah. And some
terrible.
people, their best is bad. I mean, don't people there's certain people that just suck in general, right?
They have a hard time. But again, what is their background? Okay, so if you and I right now, kind of went on the street and we found a homeless person, and maybe they're living on fentanyl, we would find that probably their life has been very challenging. Agree?
Yeah.
And we had not gone through their journey, so we've not gone on the footsteps of another person's journey. So our job isn't to judge them. Our job is just to say, okay, if I really realize, given what's happened to them, they're doing the best right now. They could do a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe me just being kind with them, maybe me not blasting them and calling them names and saying, "Hey, you blank person," might help them to say, "Hey, this one person reached out to me with a little kindness, and now maybe I can reach out to some kindness towards myself." Because the truth of it is, people that do things that are, kind of, as you would say, rotten, they don't like themselves very much.
Yes. Okay. So that person can't be happy, right? I always think that if someone is doing really horrible things to others, how could they be happy inside?
Well, yeah, they can't be. Correct. You are correct. Right.
They can't.
Right.
Okay. So let's take some questions. I'd like to
All
pull up. Let's see. Charmin, you're on with Dr. Robert Puff.
I'm so happy. Hi, how are you doing today?
I'm well.
Thank you for being here. Do you have any advice for trauma survivors when they get re-traumatized, especially if they're in a community of people and they don't necessarily want to leave?
Yeah, then I think again, it's your job. Think about this. Think about if you were raised in an environment where the eating habits were really poor. This is an example, and so you're now struggling with your weight. And you want to get better, but people around you still are maybe struggling too. So what you would do is say, I need to just focus on what I need to do. So you need to keep healing those habits. Because the trauma has created habits inside of you to protect yourself. Because when we get traumatized, we need to protect our heart. So you're going to need to do things daily. Like a couple of things I really love. I love exercise because exercise allows you to kind of release that energy. Another thing I like is meditation because that allows you to kind of find peace in yourself. Another thing I like is just talking to someone, finding like a confidant, or someone that you can every day begin to heal your heart. So when you're healing your heart, even though you're in a tough situation, you are keep doing what you're in control of, which is healing your heart. And what may happen as time goes forward, you may even find better tools of how to deal with other people as you keep getting better. So it's all about, it's a sense of selfishness, but it's a loving selfishness. Because of that trauma, you need to be really gentle and kind with yourself and work on healing your heart.
Excellent. Perfect. Thank you very much.
That's
You're welcome very
wonderful.
much.
That is so awesome. Okay, let's take another one. Christine Ledler.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi,
Thank you.
Christine.
I'm happy to be here. Well, I don't know where to start. Hi, Elisa. Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Oh yeah, my pleasure.
I wrote what I wanted to say to get through my nervousness, and well, I'll just introduce myself as a 20-year veteran who went to the VA for help with PTSD and and got refused to be helped and sent me in a fear state so far that it was a episode, but that's all over with because it was all fear based, and then doing this right now, I'm facing my fears, and I appreciate Elisa allowing me to do this to move forward.
No problem.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Very proud of you,
Okay.
by the way.
So it's all about my beliefs. I hope it all starts with I, but it's really not about me, and it's hopefully it'll help other people too.
Right.
Okay. I have strong beliefs and they don't align with everybody's truth. I'm facing my fear right now to make this statement of my truth, and I'm hoping to do my best to get through it. I believe everybody is different and we should try to allow everybody to be different as God intended with no judgment. I believe we should try to learn from all the different perspectives. I believe in infinite realities, and there will be a time and a place when good-hearted truth seekers are not fearful or judgmental of each other. I believe Earth's time and God's time is very different. I believe I'm an imperfect human who is learning to be a better servant. Some believe in war and killing and protecting their riches. I believe in love and kindness and protecting the innocent. I believe the meek will inherit the earth. I believe my rewards are in heaven. I believe when the end comes, I will stand still and enjoy the moment. I don't believe in speaking negatively about or to other humans, but I'm not perfect. I like helping other humans, maybe sometimes too much. I like believing that I'm helping to build their courage. I believe in righteousness. I believe in giving and taking kind and correct corrections from each other. I believe in doing unto others as you would have done to yourself. I believe every struggle, trauma, and or conflict is a test to build our armor. I believe we are to teach the seemingly stubborn but very passionate children. I believe in everything in moderation. I believe the truth will set us free. I believe in angels. I believe I've met some. I believe our death dates are predetermined. I believe if you pay attention, you can see the patterns that will take you backwards in circles. I believe patience in speaking in full sentences is important. I believe if more of the full truth is told of what is really happening, we would have much more healthy and happy humans in this world. I believe humor is medicine when it's done with taste. I believe words matter and all human lives matter no matter what. I believe we are family on this precious planet. I believe we are characters in this play some call life. I believe in believing that we are in this together, striving for a more global mentality. I believe in togetherness. I believe together is a wonderful place to be when you choose the correct reality. I believe in gratefulness and sharing. The weight of the world does not need to be heavy or a burden. No one needs to go in circles. Everyone can learn to share and balance and move forward. I believe our dreams can come true. I believe in trying to keep it simple and using common sense to make real progress to our happily ever after end. It's likely we could eliminate the puzzles when we have faith in the positive. Bringing positives together takes a bit more work, but I believe it's worth it. Long story short, there's only one golden rule. I believe we should try to come together and follow it. There's a formula to happiness using forgiveness, kindness, selflessness, patience, humility, and correct grammar. I believe everyone would enjoy having true peace on this earth and love throughout the world. It seems all humans that have tried to pass on this message to the masses have been killed. It's okay. I'm ready to die for it. I believe that would ignite more fires in the hearts of the majority who are the good people on this earth. I believe we can overcome our fears without drugs or liquid courage. I'm positive we are moving forward toward progress and the higher purpose. I'm ready to go if you truly believe that will help you to protect your wealth, because I believe in Jesus Christ and the protection of the Holy Spirit far more than the protection efforts of any government. I believe Jesus is the truth and he will save anyone who asks. I believe it can't hurt to try. I just wrote that today.
Huh. Do you have a question for Dr. Puff?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's like
I
my
think I heard a question at it.
Oh, you did?
I think I did. So a question in the sense of kindness is very important. I heard that many times in your writing, and I like that a lot. I mean, actually, that's one of the. If you actually ever listen to my podcast, probably about a fifth of them are on kindness. And clearly, you have come to a very wise decision in your life. I'm very proud of you for doing that. And
Thank you.
it's beautiful that you're trying to share that. But I would also say that, I think there have been really good examples of kindness. My favorite is because I actually knew him and his family was Mr. Rogers. I mean, he was a very kind person, and he worked at it. So I think the key of it is in kindness. You have to work at it. As she was just sharing, she worked at it. She came from a traumatic experience and really worked on herself to change herself. And I think we all can. And then once we discover that kindness first towards ourselves, then we share it with other people. And I think when we do that, the world really does get a better place. And, our little changes can make a huge difference in other people's lives. So.
Okay, so someone just wrote to me a question. This is very important. Okay, so can you ask him about worrying about someone you love dying and feeling like life will always be sad without that person?
Yeah, and that's going to boil down to the what ultimately causes us to suffer or be unhappy is our attachments. So in life, the one guarantee we have in life is what's called impermanence. Life is going to change. I mean, right now we're living in a state of, pretty intense impermanence. So the key of life is to see everything as a gift. And I'm so thankful, like let's use this person that he or she wrote about. I'm so thankful that you're in my life. And I don't know if you'll be there tomorrow, but I'm so thankful you're here today that guess what? Because I know there may be a chance you may not be here tomorrow, I'm going to love you better. When we assume that person will always be there, we take them for granted. We don't love them as well. But when we really believe that everything is a gift, then we embrace that gift so much more and say, I'm so thankful you're here. And tomorrow you may not be here, but today you're here. And so, and then if they do leave, then we're thankful for what we had with them. And we say, now, God, universe, what are you going to bring me next? What new adventure, what new people are you going to bring? And we focus on that. So it's a sense of deeply loving with not being too attached, realizing life is change.
That's interesting because I lost someone that was very important to me like 2 years ago, and I'm still not through it. And I feel that way. Like I almost feel like my relationship with that. Well, it's a dog, but I feel like my relationship. Yeah, I feel like my relationship with her changed when she died. Like I still have a relationship with her, but it's hard to like tell someone that's it's hard to tell someone that like don't have an attachment when they die, like don't have an attachment to them. Like how do you work on that?
Well, see, I think non-attachment seems as non-caring. Let me share my own story about my own dog. The hardest time I ever cried in my entire life, I had a dog named Einstein that used to come work with me. He came with me for 16 straight years. So he was with me 24/7 for 16 straight years. Okay. And then at one point it was, he ended up passing and I was there when he passed.
Yeah.
And when he passed, I cried harder than I had no idea I was going to cry that hard. It's hardest I've ever cried in my entire life. And yet it felt very good to cry. It felt very cathartic. So it's a sense of I'm so thankful to the 16 years I had with them, but I'm also okay because it's like now the new journey. So it's a sense of loving deeply. And anytime I feel him, anytime I need to let myself process and grieve, I will. But in the same sense, it is a sense of, and there's the whole world that I love, the other people that the universe brings to me too that I love too. So.
Okay, so it was almost weird. Like when I lost my dog, a new person came into my life right after that. And I was thinking, is this somebody that was sent to me to help me through this? Do you believe that at all? Do you believe, are you religious? I don't know if you're religious or anything.
Yeah. I'm pretty, I believe, I believe in the divine plan of the universe. Yes. I mean, that's a whole other conversation, a whole different conversation, but so it's a sense of, again, I'm going to say something, I apologize. It may be a little controversial, but, if you just focus on doing your best, not worrying about what everyone else does, and just focus on how can I be the most loving, kind person I can be. I
Yeah.
think everything just ultimately, not maybe immediately, but ultimately things fall into place. So there's a term called, everyone knows the term optimist, and everyone knows the term, pessimist. But there's a thing called agathist, and an agathist is someone who, in the long run, believes things are going to work out for the good. So there is a sense of that when we trust and do our part really well, we just
Yeah.
focus on what can I do well. Right now, I need to grieve because my mother is dying of cancer. I need to grieve. But then when we do grieve, we say, okay, now, am I grieving right now? No. Now I'm going to go to have dinner with my daughter.
Okay.
And so we focus on that. So a lot of it is being present. And the present sometimes we need to grieve. Sometimes we need to, feel our feelings and remove ourselves from challenging situations. But when we're present with ourselves throughout the day, what we'll find is that presence without being too attached, we love more deeply then, because then I'm so thankful that I have this person in my life right now. Like right now, you and I are sharing, the world together. And this is a moment that we have. Tomorrow, it may not be here. So I'm thankful that I have this time with you and the guests listening to the show.
Oh, it's so nice. Okay, let me bring up somebody else. Everybody wants to talk to you. I'm getting a lot of good messages about you. Barry, call in. I know you want to call in. All right. This is John. John, meet Dr. Puff.
Hi, John.
Hey, Dr. Puff. Well, first, I had a couple of things. Somebody watching out there named Supertramp was wondering if you're single, Dr. Puff. He says he thinks you're pretty cute.
No, thank you.
I don't want to try to drag this all out in the full story of my life, but my father had done some terrible things when I was younger, and I forgave him for what he did. Because he's my father, I can never forget, just forgive and move on. Well, we made contact after a lot of years, almost 30 years, in 96, and we'd been in conversation for a long time. And now the last time I talked to him was 2016. Now he's in his 80s, and it called after my mom had passed. Should I just let him go and write him off, or should I just continue? Like I said, I've forgiven him for his past. He's a suspect in something else, which somebody will probably talk about that somewhere along the line here. But it's not my concern. It was back in 1978. If he did it, I want him to face justice, and I want them to find the person that they're in question. But should I just give up and say, you know what? If he doesn't want to talk to me, I didn't talk to him for 30 years. Why should I continue trying to speak with him or anything like that?
I think it all gets back to you listen to your heart and you say, okay, what would be good from my heart in regards to him? I mean, again, it's not expecting anything back from him, and it's not having, if you think they have consequences, he'll have consequences. More saying, what would be good for me? Sometimes be good for me is not talking to a person. Sometimes good for me is talking to a person, but really listen to your heart. And that's why I love meditation and stillness. Be still, kind of close your eyes and say, okay, what would be good for me?
I've got my stepmother. My stepmother accepted my friend's request in Facebook, and I've sent a lot of messages and not gotten no replies. Well, not too long ago, I sent him one that kind of told him to F off and die, so to speak. And she gave a thumbs up to that, like she liked it. And the next thing I know, she took that off, and I said, oh, you replied to this one? I want to know, is my dad alive? I just want to know. I mean,
people are silly, and so again,
it's kind
your
of
part is
if he's dead, I want to know so I can put it as a closure and say, well, I'm never going to know the answers to the questions. I was trying to ask him why he did what he did back in 1964.
Right.
We went to prison for that, and he got in some other trouble and been in and out of prison a few times, but still.
Again, if I can, though, I want to interject because I think, again, we have that sense of we want to, it's good to know. I don't have any problem knowing, but a lot of people I work with, their parents or the person who hurt them or whoever it is has died. And so that person, you can't talk to them anymore. You are not going to find, let's go to medium, but overall, you're not going to talk to them, but you can still process what you're doing with them and heal and work on getting better, regardless of what has happened to them. So John, so your part is, what can I do for my heart to be in a better place so that as I get my heart better, I can be loving and kind towards other people more?
Yeah, well, I love him because he's my father. I hate the sin. I hate what he did. I moved on from that and lived with it and been stuck with the nightmare of what happened, because I was there when it happened, the first thing that happened. So I was the witness. I was only a couple years old, about 4 years old, almost 5, I guess. But still, just the whole ordeal of trying to, like I said, I found him, I searched him down. I wanted to see what my dad looked like, and be part of my dad's life. And we were part of her life from 96 until 2016. When I called last time I talked to him was after my mom died. I stopped getting birthday cards, which is tomorrow, by the way, my birthday, 62.
Happy birthday.
And I was getting Christmas cards. He was sending my daughter Christmas cards and birthday cards and things like this. And my wife at the time, but all of that just stopped after my mom passed. And I don't know why I'm hoping maybe he'll see this broadcast someday and he'll know who I am, you know.
We'll find him for you, Johnny. Don't worry. Okay, we're getting a caller. Kermit and Friends.
Hello?
Kermit and Friends.
Eliza? Is this Eliza?
Yeah?
Eliza, this is Martin Meyer. Listen, I have a huge problem. Last night I had gay sex with Andy Dick, and he wouldn't stop talking about you the whole time. I couldn't even ejaculate myself. It was the worst experience of my whole life, and you ruined it. I'm finally with a celebrity, and he's talking about, some singer. She's in some Starship group. She's a celebrity too. Yeah, right. I'm watching your channel. It stinks. And you ruined my one chance. The first time I ever get to have sex with a celebrity, and you ruined it. You are just the biggest bitch that I've ever seen in my entire life. What do you have to say for yourself?
Is he really 9.5 inches?
No, he's not, because I never got to see him hard. He was only about 6 inches.
All right. I can't even tell if that's a prank or not. At this point, I don't even know. All right, so... Okay, everybody's calling right now. Let's take my co-host Wheezy.
Hi. Thank you. First of all, you're awesome. I find you super awesome. My question is about selfishness, because I think a lot of people think that it's bad to be selfish, but I've found in my life that being selfish has saved me from a lot of situations that giving too much of myself would have been a great cost to me. And can you speak on that? Like when it's okay to be selfish, and I guess selfish might be the wrong word.
Do you mean like in a relationship, Wheezy?
I mean in general, with your time, with your effort. I'm somebody that people find nice, so they want to take advantage of me. And so I have to be selfish without being mean and tell them the truth, but be like, I can't give this much of me away right now because I only have a capacity of my own capacity.
Right. But I would argue that's a healthy boundary. So I often describe life as a pyramid. I went to Egypt once and climbed the pyramids. They've been there for a long time,
amazing,
right?
Yes.
So at the bottom of the pyramid is you and your relationship with yourself. Are you taking care of yourself? Are you having time to watch sunsets? Are you having time to, be still? The next pyramid would be your partner you're in a relationship with. And if you have kids, that'd be the third. And the fourth would be work and everything else. And so that's a very solid pyramid, because if you're well, then you can keep giving to other people. I've been able to help people for so long because I make sure that I'm okay. I'm taking care of myself. And then from that, we give from our excess. What people tend to do is they give to other people. Another person who had the opportunity of meeting in Calcutta was Mother Teresa. And after she died, we got a hold of her journals, what she wrote, because she had asked them to throw them away, but she hadn't, who's going to throw away something from Mother Teresa, right? And what we discovered was she struggled with depression. And she's a beautiful soul. I mean, you can't talk anything bad about her, but I think she struggled because she was giving so much to others that she wasn't necessarily taking care of herself. So I think in the long run, I mean, mind you, she did wonderful, but in the long run, it is good to make sure we're taking care of our hearts. And that may seem selfish to other people, but in the long run, I think it's loving to be okay. And that way we can keep doing what we're doing for much longer too. Does that make sense?
You read Mother Teresa's private journals.
I didn't. They were made public after she passed. I didn't. In order for her to be canonized, they had to go around and interview everyone that knew her. When they discovered that she struggled with depression, and we did not know that until after she passed. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's amazing. So, did you find out anything in those journals? Like, I mean, she wasn't really that great, right? I mean, if you read the journals.
Well, no, she was a beautiful soul, but I think the thing is that this is a whole different topic. But she had what happens in the spiritual world. If I can talk spirituals for a second, in the spiritual world, sometimes you get what's called there's different terms for it. You get really cool experiences. Let me just use that word. So when you have these really cool experiences, they're like a drug high. Like, oh my goodness, that's so great. And so you have this great high, and you kind of want to recreate it. So that's why people that struggle with addictions, they're sacrifice everything for that because they want that high again. Sometimes we have what's called spiritual highs, and as a human being, we can't be attached to those either. So I've had some incredible quote spiritual highs in my life, but I don't remotely care. And they come, they go. You can get attached to that, And she struggled because once she started her mission, she stopped having those spiritual highs anymore, and she didn't know why. And that's what I felt caused her to suffer.
Oh, because you can't really keep that up, like anything like that. I
You
feel
do,
like the reason why I appreciate it is because it's just not every day.
right? Yeah, you enjoy it, but it's like enjoying a sunset. You don't need to keep having sunsets. It's like you don't.
Yes.
Again, it all gets back to that word attachment. Life isn't permanent. Don't be attached to anything, even the highs, but the lows too. The lows
Nothing.
come. You know, if you're right now you don't have a job, right now you're struggling, maybe right now you're homeless. I mean, that could end too. So the bad things can end too, or like when you were sad, you know, that too can end. So
Well, I get afraid if things are going too well. I'm like, oh man, because I know, I know life. Life is like this. So if
right,
I'm up
right.
here, what's coming? That's what I get
Well,
afraid of.
well, again, this gets back to when we're about 2 or 3 years old. What happens is we have really good things that happen, and we want that. I want to hang on to that. That's a detachment. That's a desire. And we have really bad things that happen. That's fear. So kind of between those two, that's where the roller coaster comes. I'm afraid of losing it, or I love this high. And the goal is just to say, I don't need those fears. I don't need those desires. I'm just going to flow with life and see life as a beautiful adventure. You know, and
Just
if
as an
you, since you're
adventure.
familiar, and as you know, in my podcast, I always end the same way. The goal is to ultimately learn
Accept
to
what is,
love
be what
and
is.
love with it. Yep, yep, yep. That's
Yeah, I
it.
love
Yep.
what is. Yeah, okay. All right, I'm getting a caller. Kermit and Friends, how can I help you?
Hi, Lisa. It's Barry Boss. How are you?
Good, good. How are you? You're on with Dr. Robert Puff.
Hi, Dr. Puff. How are you? I have a
Hi,
question
Barry.
for you. I recently read I heard, I should say, didn't read. I heard a quote by one of my favorite people, Elon Musk.
Mm-hmm.
And he had said in an interview with Dan Rather that he expected Tesla to fail. And Dan Rather asked him, well, if you expected the company to fail, then why do it?
Mm-hmm.
And why try? And Elon Musk said, well, even if you expect yourself to fail, you should always try, because there's a possibility you can succeed no matter what. So my whole philosophy in life is just keep throwing crap at the wall until something sticks. I've been doing that my entire life, but so far I have yet to succeed in a big way.
Oh,
and
I think that's okay, according to Dr. Robert Puff.
My question for Dr. Puff is, what advice do you give to somebody like me that's worked his tail off his entire life, but hasn't made it to the big stage like he's supposed to have been yet, because of setbacks and like all these different things? Like, this is the 4th time I've been knocked out, and I'm bouncing back. It's the 4th time, and I'm going through a really rough time. My father just passed away last summer, and he was my hero and my idol and everything to me. And it's just been really hard last few years. My 2 best friends committed suicide in 2013, who were also my business partners.
Oh, no.
And ever since then, my business kind of tanked and my life kind of tanked. Just give you a little bit of clue of who I am. My real last name is Mezzy. You can actually Google me. It's spelled M-E-Z-E-Y. Lisa will give it to you. I'm kind of like, I was the celebrity agent to like a lot of stars in tennis and other sports. And I'm trying to rebound, but I find it difficult to rebound no matter what. And it's just, life keeps getting harder and harder every day. And I don't know how much longer I can hold on.
All right. Hang in there, Barry. You're going to get an answer. Okay. I'm going to hang up with you, and Dr. Puff's going to answer. Okay, sweetheart?
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So listen in. Okay. So I love that. Man, I love that question. He was so transparent, and just like, he put it all out there. That's what I want people to do when they talk on the show. So Dr. Puff, what would you say to a guy like that?
Yeah, a lot of it's twofold. A lot of life is, the focus isn't on succeeding. The focus is on living well. And if we live well, we've succeeded. So on it, and sometimes life can be really, really hard on us, but it's, the key of life is to say, okay, am I doing something that I can find joy and happiness? And maybe I'm working at McDonald's right now, and I'm making the French fries. Can I find joy in that? Can I find, and you may say, there's no way, Dr. Puff, that's horrible. But let me share a story. It's one of my favorite stories. When Tibet got taken over by China, Some of the monks were put in solitary confinement, and this one monk was put in solitary confinement for 12 years. When he finally got out, he met his fellow monks, and they asked him, "How was it for you? That's so long being alone." He said, "Well, I began to learn during that time how beautiful the sun coming through the window could be. Even if a cockroach ran across the floor, how beautiful it could be. There's just always something beautiful to be with, and we have to let go of things. Have to go a certain way. I have to accomplish things. I have to make a difference. We just need to live well each day." Ultimately, each breath of the time. When we do that, then we're succeeding. Whether the whole world knows us or no one does, then we've done well.
I agree with you so much, even when it's going really bad for me, because I've been at the bottom. I've been lower than anybody. And I always think, it wasn't always like this, right? So it wasn't always this bad. There's been times when I've done great in my life, and that'll be again. If you ever felt any joy, if you ever have experience having joy, having thrills, being lucky, that means that wasn't your last time. You'll get it again. You'll get it right, Puff. You'll get it again. You'll get it about every 3 years. I get like something good. I see.
Well, and the ultimate goal would be, whether it's up or down, it doesn't make any difference. If you can reach a point where it's like, oh, life in the world's eyes is doing great, it doesn't matter, and life in the world's eyes is doing terrible, it doesn't matter. You just flow with life.
Okay, so the people that are complaining right now that they don't get
Yeah.
to talk to Dr. Robert Puff, just be patient. You ever hear of patience? Everybody, please, come on. It's ridiculous. Do not complain. Okay, just 1 second. Okay, Christine has another question for you. Christine, your question that you had, just unmute yourself. It was something about the government.
Well, it originally was, how do I get over my fears of the government? But as I've been watching and listening, I just wanted to, I guess, put it out there, see if I could get some professional feedback on what's going on up here. I don't see life like up and down. It's like, well, okay, what would you say to some?
Wait, your microphone is horrible. Christine, fix your microphone. It's really weird, right? Just fix your microphone. Sorry, doctor. She really had bad audio there. But she wrote to me something. How do I'm going to read you what she asked me. Any questions? Any suggestions to alleviate my fears of the government and doctors? So Christine is very afraid of doctors. Why are you afraid of doctors, Christine? Just unmute yourself.
Well, when the VA doctor refused to help me with what I knew was going on, because I knew it was PTSD or it was triggers. It's non-truth that triggers me, and I was facing my fears, and I was trying to write a book about all my traumas, but I didn't realize what I was doing to myself because I was reliving my traumas. So it was like a one-time incident, but he misdiagnosed it as a mania, and he took my ADHD medications away from me, which made my life that much harder. I had to drop out of college. So it was like they were intentionally trying to ruin my life. There's a piece of my brain that still feels like they purposely did this because I'm a retired paid disability.
Okay, fix your audio. Okay, I'm going to tell you what I think she's trying to say. So her doctors took her off medication, so now she's against doctors. What do you?
Can I think I have an idea. I mean, it gets back to, what am I in control of? We're not in control of the government much, unless maybe we're a president. The president, if the president's listening right now, then he has some control, but most of us don't have much control. And and with a lot of things we're not in control over. So it's deciding, what do I have control over, what don't I? And then when we do our part, and we do everything here, when we do our part, we do everything we can, then we just live life. I use this example a lot. I know you're familiar with what I talk about. If you're diagnosed with cancer, and it's a malignant, so you're going to have to go through, you're going to make the choice of, first you make the choice of, what am I going to do for treatment? Then you're going to go through the treatments. So, but when you're not making those decisions, then you live. And what we tend to do, we tend to perseverate on the things that we right now don't have much control over. What we focus on, what right now do I have control over? And if there's nothing, then you just go for a walk out in nature. You just do things that you can do to make your heart in a better place. And when we stop fighting what we can't control and we realize what we can, then a peace settles in and we flow with life. So.
Okay, so you realize when it comes to certain things, like maybe at your job or whatever, you just don't have any control. So just be fine with that, right? Just say, oh, I have no control here. I'm going to do my best. The things that I do have control over, that's I could be happy with that. And once you do that, once you release, it's all about like kind of releasing the need to have control, right? What would you say?
Mm-hmm.
About
Yeah,
that?
it's a sense of flowing with life. So again, think about everyone heard the term being in the zone, with sports athletes.
Yes.
And when you're in the zone, it's about not thinking about winning, not thinking about losing. Remember I talked about earlier, fear and desire. It's letting those things go and just flowing with life, and then you do really well. We know that with professional athletes, when they're in the zone, they're just not thinking about winning or losing. So it's not about winning in life. It's not about losing in life. It's like, right now, what could I do to make my heart in a better place that isn't going to hurt it. So like maybe coming home and, and taking a bunch of pills would make me feel short-term better, but in the long term it wouldn't. It's more like going for a walk, connecting with a friend, reading a good book, things that make my heart better right now, if that's the only thing I can do.
Yeah, because feed yourself with positive things, right? So like, watch positive things, listen to positive things. I've heard you speak about this a lot. Make sure everything that you're eating is feeding you, be healthy all around. Okay.
Right.
So there's a lot of, entertainment out there that's very negative, and you would say to steer only towards like inspirational, like your podcast, for instance. I mean, would be perfect. If you just listen to your podcast all day, I feel like that could help 100% of people.
Doctor, can you help me?
Okay, so this is T-Bob. T-Bob, you're on with Dr. Puff. Do you have like a problem or a question for him?
I have a question, actually. T-Bob Puppet of the Fishing Network here. Doctor, how do you pray or forgive? I had parents that, how can I say, my dad was mentally, physically, and sexually abusive. My mom was a narcissistic sociopath. They're both burning in hell. So where do I start? Do I start worshiping Satan, or do I start burning down churches first, or is there another way?
There's another way. I mean, I share another story with you. There was a woman. She could give me permission to talk about this, and
I'm very angry about it.
Yeah, let me go ahead. I think you'll like this answer. So, there's a woman I knew many years ago. She had come from as abusive background as you could humanly have. I mean, you imagine things, and that happened to her. And what she did was she realized, working with me, that she had to, one part, ultimately forgive them. But then what she did is she actually got involved with reaching out to other women who had gone through what she'd gone through, the horrible abuse that she went through, and started helping them heal too. So I think it's a two-pronged. It is a sense of healing until you're completely healed, and that's when I often describe it as like watching a scary movie and you don't have any feelings about it anymore. That's the healing process. And the second thing is, now use that thing that thing that they did to you and turn it into something good. Because we can if you meet people, my job in life has been to find people that are doing exceptionally well. And what I find when people are doing really well, like exceptionally well, they've had very difficult childhoods often, and they turn that into something beautiful. As my old client did, she helped other women who had been through horrible abuse too. So the key of life is to heal and then to help others.
So heal, but what if you are having a hard time healing? Can you still help people if you're still in pain?
Well, I think I would say mostly healing. And then probably in that situation is be surrounding yourself with people that care for you. So you do want to probably mostly heal and later get more involved in helping others. I would agree with that.
Okay, so work on yourself first.
Yes.
Like what you said with Wheezy. I feel like you work on yourself first, and then you will have, because you can't like pour from an empty cup, right?
You cannot. No, has to be full.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So you have to have a full cup. Oh, I have a caller. Kind of scared. Kermit and Friends, how can I help you?
Yeah, this is Chris, because my audio was bad on the
okay.
stream.
Okay.
I wanted to ask what he would say to someone who hyper-focuses on one thing at a time. And I have all my life, and I've never really had to multitask very much, because 20 years in the military, you just kind of follow orders. So it's been a hard journey. Navigating, how do you help somebody to navigate both Earth reality and the spiritual reality at the same time? That doesn't make sense. like, I don't see life as highs and lows. It's more a parallel thing where there's good things going on this earth and there's bad things going on this earth at the same time. Like, for example, when somebody dies, it's very sad in Earth's reality, but in God's reality, it's a happy occasion.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, just hold that thought. I'm just getting this other caller. Eric, yes? Kermit and Friends.
Oh, hey, is this Elisa?
Yes.
Hey, Elisa, how you doing over there?
Doing well. I'm on with Dr. Robert Puff, my favorite podcaster.
Oh my God, Dr. Robert Chuck.
Puff.
Wow, that's phenomenal. It's really nice to meet you, Dr. Robert Chuck. My name is Eric Riggs, huge fan of Elisa. And how's the show going?
It's going well. Do you have a question for him? Are you happy, Eric? Do you need help with that?
Am I happy?
Yeah.
I do need help with my happiness. How can I become more happy?
Well, you got to watch the show. You haven't been watching it all?
Of course I've been watching it. Are you kidding me?
All right. Okay, so Eric, just put your camera on. Okay, that was Eric. All right, so people are asking kind of confusing questions right now. Let's just take like one more from the Realty Bob. Realty Bob?
Yeah, that's right. I'm here.
Okay, your audio is really loud. Okay, do you have a question for Dr. Puff?
Sorry about that. Yeah, I do got a question for you, Dr. Cup. Go ahead and tell me what you have been doing with Christine.
All right. Some of these puppets are just out of their mind. Okay, so I would like to promote your everything, like everything that you've done. So you have 13 books. Which book out of all your books do you recommend like the people from here read first?
Good question.
You have a book for children, maybe?
Yeah, I wanted to. I think it'd be. I mean, I would just look and just see if what one resonates with them. I mean, you have to pay for those, so the podcast is free. So that's just less expensive. So I would just go there. I'm not here to make any money. I just want to help people. So that's free. But and then I write a blog for Psychology Today, and there's a lot. I've been writing for them for years, so there's a ton of blogs, and that's like 3 books in total there. So, and if you like to read, that's a good way to go. So. Yeah.
Okay, so do you have anything that you haven't done yet that you want to do?
I was supposed to. Well, this is a side note, but I love art, and there's a lot of art museums I haven't been to yet. So I'm looking to travel back overseas soon. So.
No, but I mean like career wise, because you're
Right.
you have your 13 books, you have your podcast. It's so huge, that podcast. Is there any would you want to ever have like a TV show or something like that?
I just go with the flow. So whatever comes, I will address that. So.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I feel like that's really worked out for you.
It does.
It really does. How terrific. All right. Well, I just want to thank you so much for being on Kermit and Friends. Did you have fun at all? Did you enjoy it?
I did very much. You're wonderful. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Oh, wow. Everybody follow Dr. Robert Puff. He is fantastic. Read all his books. I want you to read 13 books that he has written. I want you to do that immediately. I want everybody to talk about him on the wrap-up show and follow him on all his social media. Actually, wait, Dr. Robert Puff on social media. Where can people reach you?
Instagram I'm on Instagram every day throughout the day. It's Robert Puff Jr. And just if you go to any of my sites, go to my website, like Happiness Podcast. It's linked there. It's linked on all my shows. But you want to go to Robert Puff Jr. at Robert Puff Jr. or this whatever it is. I think it's at. Anyways, but that's where I'm on regularly, and because I'm and you'll get me. It won't be anyone else. It'll be me. So. Yep.
Okay, great. Okay. Awesome. Everybody do that. Don't bother him too much. Okay. Don't ask him multiple questions. Like, for instance, when people write to me, they write paragraphs and paragraphs. Don't do that to Dr. Robert Puff. Just write him a simple, 2 sentences. It's very annoying when you get like a lot of paragraphs. So just be as least annoying as possible. Say you're from Kermit and Friends and just add him on there. And hopefully, he just helps so many people. And that's what we try to do here. Everybody watch our musical guest. Enjoy Wappy Flanker.
watching from her window. She sees the faces in the distance. She doesn't miss them. She's been watching the world go by, and she don't care why. So cold, she's really got a feeling. She don't like this world. She's gonna jump off and go. Cold, she's really got a feeling. She don't like this world. She's gonna jump off and go. Cold, she's really got a feeling. She don't like this world. She's gonna jump off and go. Cold, she's really got a feeling. She don't like this world. She's gonna jump off and go.
Oh my God, I just love him. Okay, so on the wrap-up show today, what do you guys think we should talk about? Obviously, we should talk about Dr. Robert Puff, how inspiring he is. He just has such a great attitude about everything. Try not to have any attachments unless you're thinking about this show. Then I want you to be very attached, extremely attached and obsessed. But besides that, try not to have any attachments. And that is the key. That is the key to happiness. Wheezy, obviously you host the main wrap-up show. There's other wrap-up shows out there, but I recommend yours. That's my
Thank
favorite.
you. I appreciate
So
that.
what are you going to be talking about? What about Dr. Robert Puff? What'd you think
Amazing.
of him?
I think he's so amazing and intuitive. I'm going to listen to all of his podcasts now. I think he's amazing, honestly.
Yeah.
And I do want to talk about the rascal that we know as T-Bob on the podcast, because he is right now in the chat telling everybody that I'm Leaf, which I'm not, everyone, and that he's doing a alternate after show. So I'd like to publicly invite him onto my after show so he doesn't have to do his own.
Yeah, I mean, usually I just say whoever wants to do a wrap-up show or an after show, you could just do it. The cream rises to the top, and Wheezy, you have the best wrap-up show. Obviously, you have Charmin on the wrap-up
Yes.
show. I'm also curious what she thought. Charmin, did you have any thoughts on Dr. Robert Puff? Like, did you like him? What'd you think?
I liked him. I thought he was great timing. Wonderful advice for people to make sure that they keep their own cups full and keep their self happiness a priority. It was good timing. I really enjoyed him. I'm glad we got him as a guest. I'm looking forward to the changes that are going to take place on this show. Big
Yeah.
sponsors. Can you give us any teases? What do we get to know?
Well, my last 3 sponsors didn't work out, so I don't usually like to talk about them. I don't even care about sponsors. I just want to have fun. That's it. I'm just looking for joy. I listen to, what the doctor says, and you just be kind as you can be, and then good things happen, right? So when people are kind here, I did notice that good things happen to them, and when they're not kind, bad things happen. I mean, I'm not threatening anybody, but I'm just saying the kind people get a lot out of being part of this community, and that's just the way it is in life. So the kinder you are to yourself. Be good to yourself. Charmin, we're healing from things, you and I, and probably everybody watching this.
Right.
You concentrate on that. Concentrate on healing so you can help other people.
That's the goal. You can't help somebody else until you've been through it yourself. The natural progression is victim, survivor, advocate. And the goal is to help other people. And sometimes that means you have to call out bad behavior. That's how you protect yourself and you protect other people.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's true. I ignore a lot of bad behavior.
You're really good at it. I kind
Yeah.
of admire that about you. You
Thank
do
you.
a really good job of just ignoring some of the nastier things that are said.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you have any kind of show, if you're on the radio, if you're on TV, whatever you're doing that people can see, you're going to have haters. You're going to have people saying bad things. People are going to be mean to you. That's just the way it goes. And that's just it. And you just have to deal with it. And like T-Bob Fishing Network, obviously you probably have some haters out there, but you just keep going. Don't listen to what they say. Never listen.
Just to let you know, I know exactly who Dr. Puff is. It's obvious. The last name Puff, that's Wheezy's brother. He was in the Spin Doctors. He used to actually be the drummer.
All right. I don't think that's true, but whatever you want to think, that is fine.
It's obvious. Dr. Puff, Wheezy smokes weed. Puff get the connection? The spin doctors. He looks exactly like Wheezy. He looks exactly like the Weasel. Just take the hat off. When they were on cam side by side, they look like brothers. Almost identical. There's your proof, Kermitarians.
All right, so are you going to be on the wrap-up show with Wheezy and Charmin and all the other people from here?
I might, but I gotta do my Fish Network.
Oh, you have a Fish Network. Okay, so if you have a Fish Network, if you have any other kind of network, and you're part of Kermit and Friends, I'll help you promote your show. Just go to KermitandFriends.com, and I pinned our Discord server. I pinned it. So you should join our Discord server, so that way you can promote your show through our show. And we love doing that. We want you all to succeed and meet a lot of friends from all over the world. And yeah, I'm just really excited about the show today. People are texting me and emailing me already, telling me just how much they loved our guest. And we want great things for this community. If you need any help, obviously you can reach me through Discord, or you could tweet me or email me. And I'm just so thrilled. Thank you for your contributions. Leaf King, who books our guests, and Supertramp, who booked next week's guest, and to my co-hosts Wheezy and Charmin and Wappy. Thank you all so much for just everything that you do here. And I'll see you next week on Kermit and Friends.
West Coast vibes, people chilling, getting high. Venice Beach on the streets, I'ma get mine. A couple $100 million, I'm a goddamn mind. We've been getting by, we got lit vibes. We've been searching for a better life. Palm trees, smoking palm tree. Summertime living lovely. Old sound on a new beat. Getting lit in the hills of my sound, yeah, it's lovely. I'm making money. Palm trees, smoking palm tree. Summertime living lovely. Old sound on a new beat. Getting lit in the hills of my sound, yeah, it's lovely. I'm making money. Yeah, yeah. Blessed old life, we've been chilling, getting high. Hollywood in the hills, I'ma get mine. A couple $100 million, I'm a goddamn mind. We've been getting by, we got lit vibes. We've been searching for a better life. Palm trees, smoking palm tree. Summertime living lovely. Old sound on a new beat. Getting lit in the hills of my sound, yeah, it's lovely. I'm making money. Palm trees, smoking palm tree. Summertime living lovely. Old sound on a new beat. Getting lit in the hills of my sound, yeah, it's lovely. I'm making money. Palm trees, smoking palm tree. Summertime living lovely. Old sound on a new beat. Getting lit in the hills of my sound, yeah, it's lovely. I'm making money. Palm trees, smoking palm tree. Summertime living lovely. Old sound on a new beat. Getting lit in the hills of my sound, yeah, it's lovely. I'm making money.
Thank you so much once again, everybody. We'll see you next week.